Hey everyone, I'm Elise, also known as Another Truth on YouTube. On my channel, I delve into commentary and reactions, particularly focusing on problematic YouTube creators and their behaviors. Today's video centers around someone I refer to as Katie Joy or KJ, who you might know as Without a Crystal Ball or Katie Paulson, depending on where you encounter her online content. Thank you so much for joining me here to hear what I have to say. Before I dive in, I want to issue a content warning. This is a very serious video, and discussing these topics was emotionally challenging for me. I've tried to balance thoroughness with my own emotional capacity and respect for my audience's time. I'd like to extend my gratitude to WOACB versus WOACB, Ballz 2.0, and all other content creators and individuals in capturing and archiving her public material. Your efforts are invaluable. Thank you. As I discuss each post, please understand that I take them seriously, but I cannot verify all the claims made. Everything I present here is based solely on my opinions and interpretations of the information available. Thank you again for being here. Now let's get into it. This video contains highly sensitive content. I delve into screenshots from KJ's previously disclosed posts discussing deeply inappropriate behavior. There will be frequent strong language used. Topics include allegations of KJ's disturbing conduct, her alleged neglect of her child, and the exploitation of her son for personal gain, content creation, and as a shield against legal and moral accountability for her actions on this platform. I want to emphasize that everything I expressed here is based solely on my personal opinions. Opinions do not equate to facts. I strongly encourage each of you to conduct your own research and form your own conclusions. Please approach this content with caution and take care of yourselves. I don't have the original screenshot of KJ's reference to her child being born as a traumatic reminder of what she endured as a mother, giving birth to a very sick child. I quite understand from an outsider's perspective what that might be like. The thing is that her son's birthday is his birthday. He is a human being who deserves to have his moment cherished. Now, I know some people don't believe in birthdays for religious and personal reasons. I know that sometimes hardships happen on the day children are born, but children deserve to have their own birthday, their own celebration of life, however one would call it, in my opinion. And I think where she had said that this was a reminder of that each year, that this was the anniversary of it, makes me really weep for that little boy, because that little dude was a fighter. That little dude wanted to live, and he does live, and he had every right for his life to be cherished, appreciated, and cared for in every sense of the word. Something that a responsible adult should do. It is my opinion that KJ, of course, this would be a sad day for KJ, because she looks at him as imperfection, the person who has ruined her life, changed her life for the worst. That he, as a newborn, did not perform his expectation of his mother to be perfect and undemanding. And that is a really hard thing for a child to go through, to have that much pressure put on them the day that they're born. They have nothing to do with their parents' problems. And yet, this little boy was scapegoated from day fucking one. If any of this that I talk about doesn't place this at the bottom of the iceberg of everything that KJ has done, I don't know what else can be placed with it. But I would imagine that mistreating a child is about as low as it can get. Thank you, Ballz, for capturing this and reposting this. I appreciate you for that. Here is one of those awful posts by Without a Crystal Ball. 2-year-olds are certainly lucky they are cute, because inside that cute little facade of babbling, giggling, and laughing lies a tiny little terrorist that pushes boundaries and manipulates parents to believing the world will end if they do not get exactly what they want when they want it. God, this woman's projecting. We have waved the white flag at giving in, the wrong thing to do, and have now realized that Vaughn does understand when he's being and doing naughty things, and he's testing us almost constantly to tell him what is okay. Well, a responsible parent would respond to that responsibly, wouldn't they? This is challenging and exhausting work. I seriously can't believe a child so tiny and cute can be such an utter pain in the behind. It creates tension and stress like I've never known. Well, that is what parenthood is about sometimes. They say boys are the worst at this age and become better with age. Oh my God. I sure hope this is true. Right now, Vaughn is a very happy... wait a minute, excuse me. This is the first time I'm reading this. Right now, Vaughn is very, very lucky. I love him so much because I'd probably sell him on the black market to the highest bidder. I have never said anything like that to my children in my life, even at my sickest times. He's lucky that she loves him. He ought to expect that you love him and set the boundaries to take full responsibility for that. You are putting the responsibility of your burden on this little boy's shoulders from day one, the day he was born, the way you didn't expect it to happen and that you resent him for, because that would mean you would have to do more work in taking care of him. Yes, toddlers test the waters. They test the boundaries. They don't always know what's right or wrong. That's why they rely on you to guide them. They rely on you to discipline them with kindness and compassion. And when I say that, set those boundaries. Of course, you have to tell him what is okay and not, and you have to reinforce that. You have to reinforce that with a plan, with structure, and not blame him for being who he naturally is as a person. He was not a terrorist even at 2. Kids break things. That's why, I had a lot of nice things when I had my first child. That was a mistake because everything was broken. The VCR was ruined. Yes, I had VCRs at that time. Um, I learned the second time that there's no point in having any nice things in the house with a toddler. And you do that because you want them to be safe. You want them to explore. You want them to learn, but you want them, you do want them to kind of get their hands dirty, but you don't want them to electrocute themselves. You don't want them to have something fall on them, or they're picking up or playing with broken things that can cut them, Yeah, I mean, there is an expectation. You have to set those boundaries, which means that you, Katie, as the parent, had to ensure an environment that was safe for him. I am not sure how very lucky he is to have the kind of conditional love that you offer him. It's conditional. It's never been about, I love this child more than anything, and I'm going to do my best to take care of him in the best way possible. And yes, it is stressful. For you, it was stressful because it was an invasion of your time and your attention to other things. What I read from this is what I think was going on in your mind at this time. Okay? Now, I don't know what kind of personal issues you had at the time. I had postpartum depression for a year after I had my son. I had some problems afterwards that were exacerbated by childbirth, adjusting to a new country, even after a year of living there, and other things going on, but Katie, the responsibility of you, yes, I understand that, was for you to get help, for you to find support in communities who have children with special needs or special medical needs. I do not know personally what it's like to have a child born with illnesses that need attention, and I don't know how many of those illnesses are actually real, given Katie Joy exaggerating things, in my opinion, to get what she needs in terms of resources, so it doesn't cut into her own resources of what she does for herself. And I think this all goes back to her, that it's about how she feels. It's about how she thinks that he is invading her space and her time, that he was supposed to be born knowing everything, so she didn't have to teach him anything. I find this entire post to be horrible on so many levels. I don't even know what to say. I want to thank WOACB versus WOACB for reposting this. Oh boy. Vaughn is Katie Joy's son's name. I didn't want to include this, but she posted this, so I am repeating this. Hospital records from January 2013 to present. Reading doctor notes and assessments of our feelings is sobering, annoying, and hilarious. And it was highlighted here. I am described as adamant a lot. Well, when I know more about the damn disease than the doctor, you bet your ass I'll be adamant. They also almost didn't diagnose him with PHP because the first endocrine doctor felt it was improbable based on his good muscle tone. Genetics Doctors thought he had unusual appearance. He was on a ventilator. Unbelievable how doctors can be so clueless. However, our favorite doctor's notes were always about concern and getting to the root of the issue. We refused to let them drop the lethargy and lower energy. Turns out he had PHP, and he even fooled the first endocrine doctor. And this was dated in 2014, almost 10 years ago. Well, the highlights to me indicate how Katie Joy didn't get what she wanted from specific doctors. This isn't about a doctor who was negligent or anything. It seems to me from this that Katie Joy was looking for a particular diagnosis, because with particular diagnosis, you do tend to get more resources than not. That's part of, and I'm not saying that Katie Joy has this because I'm not a professional, but with factitious disorder, which is an extension of one of the cluster B personality disorders. Factitious disorders, there are two types that I understand. I'm a lay person explaining this from my mind, from my own research. So you have it where the person makes themselves sick or convinces people that they have this and that to get attention, to get sympathy, to get money, whatever. The other one is when they use specifically their children, for instance, into doing the same. And these children go through a lot in terms of having to undergo unnecessary treatments, horrible invasive treatments, to get that attention, to get resources, sympathy, personal validation, being the hero mom, being the adamant mom, being the fighting mom. This has nothing to do with fighting for her son's medical rights or health care rights whatsoever. This had to do, in my opinion, with how much she could get from the situation, much like she has done from so many people over the course of her adult life that can be tracked to her connection with social media. At the moment I'm saying this, I can't tell you how nauseous I feel reading this. Because this little dude, from day one, this little dude, the responsibility of Katie's stability, happiness, resources, money, everything, protection against her breaking the law and violating people's civil rights, human rights, whatever. And listen, I'm going to say alleged on that, and this is my opinion, but she's used her son to shield herself. She's using it again, her son, to shield herself and to use them sort of in a ploy to get someone else incriminated. But that's a separate story I will explain down the end of this video. This is one of the most horrifying things I have seen come from this, from her situation here with her child. It's unbelievable. Sorry about my misshapen heart here. I wanted to ensure that any remnants of his face, even behind a blurred face, is cleared out of this. I do want to thank WOACB versus WOACB once again for this screenshot. This was dated on 2014, so around the same day, I think, August 31st, so almost 10 years ago. Vaughn is a narcissist. He watches videos of himself while he eats your daily cuteness. This is a little boy, and she's already setting him up to fail. A little boy is watching videos about himself. Instead of interacting with him and saying, "Who's that wonderful guy in there? Who is he? What does Vaughn like to do? What do you like to do, Vaughn? Do you realize how important you are to me? How wonderful you are. You were meant to be," or anything like that that would be deem appropriate in this situation. And you would think that she'd want to let the world know what a caring, smart, able, wonderful child he is. And she calls him a narcissist because she's putting all of the blame for her emotional problems, her mental health, everything onto the shoulders of this little guy she's projecting. This is horrifying. What mother calls their children that? How is it cute? If he is cute and sweet and is fascinated with himself, that should be a good thing. Take the opportunity to say, "Good for you, Vaughn. Who's that beautiful baby in there?" Ask questions. What a sick fuck Katie Joy is. I can't even believe this. Wow. Just wow. This was done back in 2014. I'm just going to read the highlighted parts. All right. I have this particular memory where I was fighting with the doctor about the feeding tube. Vaughn wasn't eating well, and I was convinced he needed to pull the tube to see what he could do on his own. They placed the tube in his nose at birth, and he had never been given an opportunity to eat on his own without a string hanging down his mouth. I knew it was making bottling harder, and I pushed the doctor until I was yelling in his face. I can't tell you how many doctors I yelled at while we were there. The doctor looked at me and said, "What if we send him home and he becomes failure to thrive?" It was like this open threat to me. Failure to thrive was a big fuck you to me as a mother. Well, it's obvious you didn't understand what was going on here and what the implications of what he was enduring were. I don't think you even really cared because it was all about you at the end of the day. And going down further, if my kid was so skinny, so be it. I'm not a big person and his dad is tall and thin. I need to stop expecting Vaughn to be a sumo wrestler and just accept him for the wiry little worm that he is. He's a cute little worm, if you ask me. A little worm. So now Vaughn is a burden on her and her time, her effort, her money, everything. He wasn't born the way that she wanted him to be. He demanded more attention because of his needs. She created more problems for him so that she could live, subsist, and get more benefit from that. And then she calls him a narcissist, a terrorist, a terror, a pain in the butt, and now a little worm. Oh, isn't she Mother of the Year? Fuck you, Katie. What can I say about this other than what the fuck? Without a Crystal Ball, January 16th, 2016. What funny things have you heard your child say? Mommy need dick. Vaughn looks at me impatiently. Whatever I had in my mouth spits out, and I respond, "What do you want, Vaughn?" "Dick," he says emphatically. "Yeah. You're a fucking dickhead, Katie Joy." Why would little ears need to hear this? Why were even such discussions present? Mommy need dick? Or mommy what? What is this all a fucking about? Are you trying to posit him as some kind of pervert? You're the fucking pervert here, in my opinion. Your what do you want, Vaughn, is more like a what do you want, Vaughn? Like this is something typical out of his mouth. You didn't find this funny. You created this. He was present where he shouldn't have been present hearing things like this. And even so, yeah, kids say the damnedest things sometimes. They hear it from their parents. And you had to splash it all over the internet. Now everybody has a collection of this. And I'm sorry that I have to repeat this. And I have to do this. I didn't want to make a post about this or talk about this or use this in my video because it's just another reminder for Vaughn of what a piece of a shit you are. But I'm calling it out. This is awful. This is absolutely awful. There is nothing funny about this. Embarrassing him. Making him out to be some kind of weirdo, narcissist, terrorist, pain in the butt, a burden on you. Everything that you have done was against his best interests. It was all for your comfort, your safety, your convenience, your wants and desires. He's just a third wheel in your family life, it seems. The way that you have treated him during your lives, the way that you talk about him. This isn't talk from a loving mother. It's not even talk from an exasperating mother. And yes, there are mothers who regret having children. It's sad. They talk about it. And I'm not going to deny that these feelings exist. I'm not going to deny that people wish they never had kids. I'm not here to judge that. But here you are pretending how much you want to defend your son and how much you want to protect your son while you fucking dox yourself and your son so you can implicate another person in a false crime allegation. Like you've done to so many other people on this platform. Setting people up, making them look stupid. You did this to your own son. What kind of a motherfucker are you? You disgusting pile of shit. And this is what it was all about the whole time. This is not too long ago. What, about 6 years now? 7 years? 6 years. Even though our journey is hard, I realize there are so many amazing things I have never shared about what it's like to have a child that is sick. What could be wonderful about a child that's sick, unless you're talking about the child and their amazingness? No, Katie doesn't go into that. I know it must seem entirely inappropriate for me to be happy my child is sick. You were happy because, well, you weren't happy because you found it to be a burden, but when you realized you could cash in on it, yeah, that got you excited. But we do have some fantastic benefits in things other families don't have due to his illness. So this was a competition against other families that if he had illness and she, let's say, helped him along with other kinds of illnesses, if you understand where I'm getting at, she got the benefits for it. She got a house from it that apparently she had sold, according to one of my commentators. It's one of my commenters, and she used the proceeds of that gift, to buy a better house, in her opinion, instead of being grateful for what she had. So she made money from that deal. And all of the attention, the support, the gifts, the things to help him along, to help her along, while he gets very little benefit from any of it. He doesn't get the benefit of unconditional love from her. He doesn't get the benefit of getting a proper education or to get proper medical care for actual illnesses that he has, or being able to enjoy trying out new recipes, new foods, and things that he could eat, and essentially, in some ways, starving him, in my opinion, and not giving him the love and attention that he needs from her. Forget about outside time, trips, anything in the community that would be of interest to him. She wants nothing to do with it because she has tied her entire life to fighting battles online and pissing away money on needless things like cars that look similar to the cars of the people who are suing her, complaining about people's wardrobes and handbags, talking about making $90,000 a month to an officer when she's getting Medicaid for her son. Bringing all kinds of animals in the house that she can't take care of, with dogs that have very high maintenance and special needs that need special attention, that scared him. She didn't care. And she didn't care about the animals. And she didn't care about her neighbors. And she doesn't care about the people on the platform. Everything was about her. It was about how much she could make and profit and collect. It's all about things to her. She collects people, animals, experiences, intellectual property, anything that she can get her grabby ass hands on. She will take it away. She will suck the life out of somebody one day if she is not stopped from doing so in a legal and appropriate manner. What an abominable piece of shit this woman is. These were very hard to do. I didn't elaborate and go off on every single screenshot. I already had my moments of sadness over this, and I have my own things to deal with. But this is what it comes down to, doesn't it? Fantastic benefits of having a sick child. And it had fuck all to do with the amazing child that she has. What a disgusting, awful human being.